So you've started the carnivore diet, but how do you know it's working? In this video, I'm going to run through 10 indicators that you can use to understand whether the carnivore diet is working for you. But guys, before we get into that, if you could do me a huge favor, smash the like button and also consider subscribing. It really helps me out. It helps me to grow this channel and be another voice getting the word out there about the carnivore diet. Thank you very much. So let's look at these 10 indicators that let you know that you're doing well on the carnivore diet. And each of these 10 indicators is super important, so make sure you watch this video the whole way through. And as a bonus for watching the whole way through, I've got a before and after picture that I want to show you. Yesterday, I was creating a thumbnail for this video, and I came across a thumbnail I created for another YouTube channel in May this year. And the difference in my appearance is dramatic. And I think it's more dramatic than any other before and after I've shown on this channel so far. So if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you that thumbnail picture. Point number one, and the thing that most of us are looking for, is weight loss. You're going to experience some pretty dramatic weight loss in the first few days to first few weeks of being on the carnivore diet. Some of that's going to be water, like in any diet, but also you're going to start burning fat. As your body becomes more fat adapted, you're going to be burning more and more stored fat. You can tell that this is working in a number of ways. Of course, you can weigh yourself and you can see the difference daily on the scale, but likely you're also going to be in ketosis. So you're going to notice that kind of different taste in your mouth, and you're also going to notice probably a different breath smell. Number two is clearer skin. After a few days on the carnivore diet, you're going to notice that your skin is clearer. If you've got blemishes or you've got acne, you might start to notice after a few days that they become less obvious. Whatever happens, you're going to notice that your skin has more of a general glow, a general healthiness in comparison to before when you weren't doing the carnivore diet. Number three is that inflammation will start to disappear or will disappear altogether. By focusing on natural animal products, what we're doing is we're taking out all the products that are adding inflammation to our bodies. By removing this inflammation, a lot of autoimmune conditions are going to get less severe or perhaps stop happening altogether. So if you're suffering conditions like dermatitis or arthritis, you're potentially going to notice improvements in those conditions in a few days to a few weeks just from removing those inflammatory foods from your diet. Number four is better sleep. Nothing is better than the carnivore diet for improving the quality of your sleep. By removing all those toxic substances from your diet, you're going to give your body a chance to properly rest. And in my experience, after the first full day of the carnivore diet, I was able to get the best night's sleep that I can ever remember. I woke up after just 5 hours sleep with more energy than I ever remember waking up with. Number five is not feeling hungry. When you're on the carnivore diet, you're giving your body the nutrition it needs. And you're giving your body that nutrition through fat and protein, which are both very satiating. You're not consuming that sugar that will give you that roller coaster ride of insulin spikes. So before, you'd go out for lunch, come back to the office and feel tired for the rest of the afternoon. Now, you can go out for lunch and have your steak, or you can just not go out for lunch if you're not hungry, and the afternoon is super productive. Number six is clearer thinking. You'll notice that it's much easier to think very, very clearly about things. Whether that's at work or in your personal life, everything is much easier to think about. Whether it's a massive problem or it's just some small bump in the road, you can think about it more clearly and you can assess the problem much more clearly than you ever could before. Number seven is better focus and concentration. This is somewhat related to the previous point, but it's much easier to focus on what you're doing at any one time. In the 2020s, it's really difficult to focus. It's really difficult to keep our attention on that one thing. We've got email notifications coming through. We've got notifications from different social media apps happening. We've got people at work and in our personal lives competing for our attention. It's super difficult just to pick one task and focus on it. But when you start doing the carnivore diet, you're going to notice that your ability to focus on just one thing gets much easier. Whereas before, you might be completing a task on your smartphone, but you'll get several notifications, but each of those notifications distracts you and takes you into the app that gave you that notification. Now it's much easier to just ignore those notifications and think, I'm going to look at those later. I'm going to finish this one task that I'm working on right now. And again, when you start the carnivore diet, this kind of improved focus starts happening very quickly. Number 8 is improved mental health and improved mood. Again, I'm only talking about this in my experience, but what I noticed is very, very quickly after starting the carnivore diet that I was able to have an elevated mood. I was able to be happy even when things weren't perfect. Now, all my life, when things go wrong, I get all consumed by those things that have gone wrong. When there's a work issue or a family issue or an issue with friends, that becomes all-consuming for me. It doesn't matter if everything else is kind of okay. I focus 100% on the disaster that's happening, and that becomes the end of the world. I've found since studying carnivore that my mood is far more elevated. And when something's going wrong or there's a disaster, it doesn't become all-consuming anymore. I can remain happy, I can remain in that elevated mood, even if something is not perfect. Number 9 is measured responses. After being on carnivore for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, you're going to find that the way you respond to things is much more measured. And what do I mean by this? If there are particular things that happen that are triggers for you, they make you kind of fly off the handle, they make you react too quickly before you've had a chance to think, carnivore diet is probably going to help you. It's very likely that you're going to start having more measured responses to the things that normally would trigger you. For example, maybe there's that one thing that your partner always does that you just don't like. And whenever they do that one thing, you kind of fly off the handle and you shout at them or you have an argument or something like that. In my experience, once you start the carnivore diet, you're likely to look at that situation much more differently. You're much more likely to take a step back before responding in a situation like that, or just look at the situation and think, why did I care about this? The number 10 thing that will help you to understand whether the carnivore diet is working for you is you start to get compliments. I started this channel 1 month ago, and in that month I have had so many compliments in the comments section of my videos about one thing: my eyes. Now, how do I know this is related to the carnivore diet? I've had YouTube channels for over 3 years now, and for those 3 years and the 45 years before that, I've always had these eyes, and I've never had a compliment on these eyes. So what does that tell me? That tells me that likely something's happening inside my body with the carnivore diet that, just similar to my skin, makes it glow a little bit more, or makes it more obvious, or makes it look clearer, or something like that. So once you start the carnivore diet, pay attention to what people are saying to you. When they compliment you about your weight, about your eyes, about your skin, about your hair, about your teeth, about your mood responses, about whatever it happens to be, think about those compliments. Did you used to get those kind of compliments? If they're suddenly coming and you never got them before, then perhaps it's to do with the carnivore diet. Anyway, the thumbnail, the picture I wanted to show you that I found yesterday. Here's part of a thumbnail from me now. And here's a similar thumbnail that I created in May. Big difference, right? Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.